This shows me exactly how much I need to color my hair.
The problem is it shows...
Oh, look at that.
It has no mercy. All right, we'll redo that.
Blue and teal.
Wow, you noticed. I'm happy you noticed.
Of course I noticed.
Just going on the bloopers. Very What's up, everybody? Welcome back to NBC Arts. On this channel, we talk about filmmaking gear, tips, and tutorials. And today, I have a friend here. This is Kalie. We went to college together. She has been a writer for some of my productions, or our productions, I guess, in the past that we've done. And she's won some awards, gone to Filmapalooza. Like, it's kind of exciting. Like, I'm like a nobody compared to this one. So,
whatever.
So, Kalie, introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, people. My name's Kalie Pead. I am a recent graduate from Weber State University. Whoop, whoop, go Wildcats. Yeah. Insert Wildcats from High School Musical. Not those ones, no. But yes, I've been writing for a really long time. I got into screenwriting when I went to college, and first screenplay I ever wrote was actually with Matt, so that's super fun. And ever since then, I thought about going to Pepperdine for screenwriting, got accepted. I don't know if I ever told you that, but then COVID happened, so we're waiting a year. We'll see what happens.
And I haven't talked to each other in probably a year and a half because we're shitty people.
We're busy people.
So today we're going to be talking about a few points that Kalie has come up with about writing. I wanted to bring in like a more expertise kind of look into writing. Like for me, I write a story. Like the most I've written for screenplay has been for like 48-hour film festivals.
Yeah. And
like you have 0% time to actually write a good screenplay, whereas Kalie is kind of taking a little bit more of an in-depth kind of path towards it. I got obsessed with gear and lighting and all the stuff that doesn't matter. So, Kalie, what's the first point that you want to give to the audience about writing?
Well, with talking about gear and things, I was going to say, well, you got to start somewhere, which is kind of my first point, which is where do you start when you want to write a screenplay? And not just write a screenplay, but write something that grabs people and really pulls them in, which for me is the human aspect. So you can write any screenplay ever, but if you don't have something that relates to every human, like some generalized topic, it's just not going to go anywhere. So you could write a story about a bunch of people who travel to another planet and get integrated with some blue aliens. That's 2.5 hours long. Thank you, James Cameron.
That was an amazing film.
It was.
It's the highest grossing film ever.
It was an amazing film. But part of that was the story, right? So what appeals to people, and it's always those small life lessons of like human connection, or this is not with Avatar, but learning to become a parent, or what in your life have you experienced that you can translate into anything. And I think Mike Lasseter, I hope it was Mike Lasseter, said it best when he was talking about Monsters, Inc. and how the idea of watching monsters who scare kids at night, like just work their 9-to-5 jobs, is really funny. But once you start getting into that a little bit more, if that's all it is, it gets boring after a minute. So they had to find the true depth of the story, which was becoming a dad.
Right.
And something that would appeal to more people. So I think that's the first point of writing a screenplay, is what experiences have you gone through that might seem so simple that you can translate into other films. Right.
Yeah, like when right now I'm kind of doing a halfway kind of writing a screenplay for like a mini series almost, because that went well so well.
Wait, is it a different mini series?
It's not the same.
We're moving on.
Yeah, I know, wow. But so right now, it's kind of, I've always wanted to do a sci-fi, like a VFX sci-fi kind of powers thing. Like I love anime. Sorry for all the audience who now knows that I'm a complete nerd and a degenerate.
What a weeb!
What a weeb! But I've been super inspired by anime writing, because I've because like for one, I've seen like film school, like the only thing film school does to you is make it really hard to watch movies. And so like I feel like with anime, like I've kind of found a medium where like I can see different stories like told like different, like a different way of telling, not the same story, but like, you know, just a different way of storytelling. And like when I was writing this screenplay, like Kalie said, you got to find the very like the depth of what your story is going to be about. Like my story can be about superpowers and fighting and whatever else, but at the core of the story, it's about human acceptance, like all of us getting along. It's about like, because you know, it's kind of like if you ever seen My Hero Academia, it's kind of like that, but the way it would have actually turned out, which of these people being kind of you know, segregated and like, you know, like not really accepted by the general population. And you know, that's kind of the point of the story, is to be like, look, like we can all have these grand, you know, plans and these like, you know, these differences between us, but at the end of the day, we all need to come together. Yeah. You know, and like, not to get into too much detail, but like, you know, the two opposing sides are trying to get the same, like meet the same goal, but just in two different ways. And it's kind of more of a, it's like, that's kind of why I like My Hero Academia, is because it's not like a superpowered like shonen kind of show. It's a character drama. Yeah. And character dramas for me are like what I gravitate towards most. I started in horror, went to character drama. So what's another point that you think is good? Yeah, well, so I kind of just wanted to bounce off of what you were saying, because I think something that's really important for any screenwriter is to experience screenplays that are outside of their comfort zone. So, you know, you were talking about this, you like anime, and I didn't grow up watching anime. I didn't. But now, yeah. So there's a movie called Your Name, and you should probably put a spoiler alert at the beginning of this episode if you weren't planning on it. Everything out right now. Yep. A black screen in 3, 2, 1. Well, guys, that was about it. Thanks for watching the video. 7 hours later. So I saw Your Name when I was in my 20s. I'm still in my 20s. Hold on, I'm not that old, but early 20s. I look like I'm 5, so. That's true. You're gonna look like you're 5 forever. Yeah. They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just. It's like this twisty kind of, you have these two characters that are switching bodies and trying to figure out who the other person is, because they can never remember the other person's name when they wake up. And which is a super fun concept for me, really Freaky Friday, but like teenagers, so that was fun. Yeah, but at the heart of it, it's a story about a character who knows something bad is going to happen and feels powerless in stopping it. And you've all felt like that. Yeah, you've all had that, like everyone's had that feeling of being completely powerless, whether it's something happened at your job and now you're in trouble or whatever it is. That powerless feeling is something everyone relates to, which is why I think that story came out so much stronger. Yeah. Was, you know, just those little emotions. And so I think, and I would never have seen how powerful that kind of storytelling would be if I hadn't watched that movie. And I really think that kicked me into this broader scheme of how am I going to tell my stories? Like, how am I going to lay them out in a way that is, you know, impactful? And I think something that's really powerful that I neglected until more recently is this concept of, screenwriters will understand this, but returning to the old world, right? Yeah. Taking your character who has changed back to their hometown or whatever. That is kind of whack, because, you know, in storytelling, like, you know, you go from the old world and then the event happens that changes everything, and now like the no turning back moment, right? But then like when the screenwriters flip it around, like, no, we're gonna go back. You're like, wait, what happened at the other place? So exactly. Which I think that's another key point in effective storytelling. Pushing the boundaries, like I feel like now, well, because like there's such a stigma now with Hollywood and like filmmaking in general, is that like we're all just rehashing old ideas. And so I think now that filmmakers are kind of pushed towards making different decisions with storytelling, because like we have to think that much harder because we have all of these great classic movies to go off of. And it's kind of hard to take like inspiration from those movies, just because you know, they're so iconic and influential, and people will be like, that's a thing from this movie, or that's a thing from that, that's a quote from this movie, you know, like, so. But all right, so let's move on to the next point. What's another?
Another point of screenwriting. Well, see, the thing was I was going to talk about collaboration, but then we already did.
#collab.
Do you want to collab a little bit?
Collab.
No, but I thought we could take a minute and talk about some of our favorite screenplays and why they are the way they are. Yeah, why they're our favorite.
All right, so do you want to go first?
Yeah, I do. I would love to. So I've already mentioned this movie, but I'm going to mention it again. I think Inception slayed the screenwriting game.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was very in-depth, and that might be... A lot of writers, I think, would look at Inception and go, there's too much happening. Right? There's a lot happening, but I think it worked. For the concept of the movie, I think it worked, and I think that the actual... Like, the type of things that happened and were going through the heads of the characters felt real.
Right.
And not just like someone put this here because they needed to.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, like that. Like Inception was one of those movies that will always be remembered for that twist ending. And
it's not even a twist. It's just.
It's like it's an ending.
The lack of.
It kind of leaves it up to you.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's what I was saying. Like your audience isn't dumb, and you need to leave it up to them. To decide, you know, like that's what Inception did.
Mm-hmm.
But like we talked about it before. Whiplash is my favorite movie of all time, and it's not. Like I was a musician before this, you know, before video, before everything, and I played in a jazz band, and granted it was not like that. But the vibe was like it wasn't like that was kind of an over the top kind of abusive story kind of situation in Whiplash, but like in jazz band, like in the jazz world, like especially with musicians, like I remember this because I played guitar, like I was a jazz guitarist, and I remember the day, just like that guy in the movie, you know, like I remember the day that new guy came in and totally wiped the floor with me in tryouts, you know, and I was taken off the core seat, right? I remember that happening, and like that's the day I quit. That's the day I quit playing guitar, like for real, like not like quit playing forever, but like you know the day I quit doing it in wanting to actually do something with it. Like luckily I was kind of transitioning into video and movies and stuff, so like it was kind of a natural thing. It was good timing, but like it doesn't take the fact away that like you're like when something like that happens, it's devastating to your head. But like what Whiplash does is it kind of evolves that by having a instructor that's like on you every day, that has that abusive relationship, because like and Whiplash kind of is a lot like Black Swan, where like the instructor is so like he's such a perfectionist, and he's like pushing you and pushing you and pushing you, and it almost becomes like an abusive situation to yourself, because like in the movie he leaves his girlfriend, he doesn't talk to his family, all he does is sit and practice his double time swing, and all he does is sit and practice these movies, and at the very end I'm not gonna spoiler warning.
Was it made over 6 months ago? Then we're okay.
Yeah, no, it was made a long time ago. But at the end of the movie, like the instructor comes back because the instructor gets fired because a kid killed himself because of the way he taught. Yeah, like one of his former students killed himself. There's obviously like he lies about it, but then it's found out, then he gets fired, and then lawyers come to talk to him, and then the guy gets fired. Well, they run into each other at the very end, and the instructor invites him to play at Lincoln Center. You know, and the instructor screws him over. He says, "Yeah, we're gonna play Caravan, Whiplash, all those old tunes we used to play back in the jazz band." Gets there, completely different charts. Yikes. And he did it to screw him over. Yeah. He did it because he says, if you screw up at Lincoln Center, you can consider it. And this is a real life thing too. Like, you know, Lincoln Center is like one of those, if you get on like at the bands at Lincoln Center, you've made it. Like you're one of the top contenders, like in New York City, like especially in like New York area. Yeah. Like, dude, if you get on a Lincoln Center, you're like considered cream of the crop. But, you know, I mean, and obviously, like, in other symphonies, too. Like, I mean, it's not the end-all, be-all, but, you know, like, I mean, it has kind of a stigma about it. But at the very end, he just totally, like, whips out this phenomenal solo that the instructor just ends up having to go along with. But the tragic part about that movie is that he follows the conductor's instructions while he's playing it. So he's not like showing him, it's almost like he's submitting to him.
Yeah.
Like at the very end, like he finally submits.
Yeah.
And it kind of because like when you first watch the movie, you're like, oh, Andrew won.
Yeah.
You know, he showed him that he was better than him, you know? But really, Andrew would have been better if he would not have followed the conductor's instructions. And that came out on top. So theoretically, he was kind of lost a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's why I like that movie so much. I think, and like, you know, not coming from like my background in music, coming from, you know, my background, like, because I'm very much that way. I'm very hard on myself. Like, I set goals, like, I want to achieve them, you know? So, like, I'm a goal setter, and I like to achieve goals, and Andrew was that way a lot, too, in that movie. But, yeah, that movie's crazy. Like, if you haven't watched that movie...
I love that. Well, before I talk about my second one, I want to talk about a concept that you keep saying, and I've said it, which is trusting your audience. Matt and I worked on... The first film we ever worked on together was a 48-hour film. It was about an arcade.
God, that was such a good movie.
It really was. I was happy with it.
I need to put that on the channel.
Yeah, I really liked it.
I loved that movie.
It was really great. But we were filming a scene, and the whole concept is that this kid wants to save this arcade because it's got a lot of emotional ties, and it's like the last place he went with his parents before they died.
And we don't.
But like, we didn't need to say that. There was enough.
There was a lack of parents, mainly because we couldn't get any parent actors.
We could not get any parent actors.
And two, like, we threw it in there, like, we told the people that they died.
Yeah.
But, like, we didn't say, you remember when mom and dad died?
Right, because we didn't need to.
Yeah, we didn't need to.
The conversation before, or that conversation equated out to, like, this workaround way of saying...
We need to save it because it means something to us, man.
Yeah.
The main focus wasn't that the parents died. We just wanted to give the audience more context and the fact of why they need to care about this arcade just as much as the main character does.
Right.
And then he was also trying to get, you know, his brother to care as well, to have that change. And, you know, like... You want to play to people's emotions, but you don't want to treat them like they're like you need to feel this way. You want to be like, oh, haven't you had something that you did like when you were young?
Exactly. And we had someone on set. We were filming it. Of course, we were doing a couple takes just to really push the emotion and get it there. And I had someone on set be like, I really think he needs to be like, and that's where we went before mom and dad died. And I was like, it was this like 5-minute conversation that I just was like, no, I mean, I get what you're saying. I get why, you know, but at the same time, that's not the point. We're just adding some emotional context, and he doesn't have to flat out say that. Mom and dad died. Yeah, because he says mom and dad used to take us there all the time, you know, before
cut it off. Like, we don't know if they left. We don't know if they died. Like, we know they died.
Yeah, but it just didn't really matter.
Because basically what we did there, like, we did this unintentionally.
Yes.
Like, we basically left a hole for the audience to put their own emotional baggage into that. Because, like, before, like, we take us there before blank, like, the audience member could have been like, oh, man, like, my parents passed away, like if they're an older, you know, person, or God forbid if they're younger, but or if like, oh, I remember when my dad used to do this before we had to move to a different state, or
before they worked full time, or whatever it is.
So like it kind of leaves that hole. But if you say before mom and dad died, it kind of like takes the audience that hasn't experienced that kind of away, because they're like,
they don't get to fill it in. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I have one final question. Yes. I think this is the one. This is it for both of us. I think we should both answer. I'm gonna have to think about it for a second. What story / movie / TV show made you? What was your moment of like that? I want to go. This is what I want to do. Yeah.
Honestly, like what got me into filmmaking was watching YouTubers do it.
Yeah.
Peter McKinnon was a huge influence on me. Maddie Hapoya was a huge influence on me. You know, watching them make these really cool cinematic film, like just videos. Like, and I was like, that looks so cool. Yeah. You know, and like, you know me, like I've always been one to make the shot look as best as possible with lighting. Like, you know, I didn't intend to get into lighting. Like, it was kind of funny because like in my, back in the day when I was doing theater tech in junior high, my buddy, like, I wasn't gonna do it, but like my buddy was like, "Do you like lights?" Like, I was like, "What kind of a question is that?" Now, now I'm here.
Now you really like lights.
So yeah, like, but it's that same kind of a thing, you know. It's like, you know, I didn't really get into filmmaking because of a movie, because like I didn't really intend to make movies like that.
Yeah, that's
you know,
fair.
I've never wanted to make a movie like anybody else has made a movie.
Yeah.
Like the show I'm kind of sort of writing right now, like it's more of a thing that I wanted to bring the aspects of anime and filmmaking together, because I think they can learn a lot from each other.
Yeah.
You know, I think I can tell a really unique story, and like obviously there's been like anime adaptations like the Death Note movie that have not done super well with audiences, but that's because I think they take what's so good about anime and like throw it out the window for traditional filmmaking. You know, like grounding in reality, you know, making people like it. Like the reason why Death Note was so good is because it wouldn't happen in real life, and you didn't have to, but like in the Death Note movie, they just kind of they grounded it in reality a little too much.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick a film that made me want to make movies, Gone Girl. 100%.
Yeah, that's really good.
100%. Gone Girl was the movie that made me want to write that kind of genre. Like that, like the mystery kind of whodunit genre, that is my favorite genre. Like I like, it goes that, like mystery, romance, weird, sci-fi, and then horror, sort of, kind of. Horror's kind of on and off the list sometimes, but those are my top three genres. But yeah, no, Gone Girl is like, man, I want to make a movie like that. Yeah. And that's what birthed like Westlake Story. Like it's what birthed like my film career, Mine would be 2 movies, which I watched probably way too young, but I really appreciate that my parents let me be exposed. Green Mile. That was the first movie I ever cried at.
Really?
First one.
Yeah, it's really good. It's
very
really
end,
good.
you're just like,
yep. Green Mile and also Shawshank Redemption. So I think those were 2 very powerful stories that I saw when I was, you know, younger, and I was like, I want to tell stories that make people feel the way that I'm feeling right now. Like I want people to be able to process and see things. So yeah, that's that.
But anyway, well, that was a fun conversation.
That was fun.
I haven't collabed with, man, I haven't talked to you in so long.
Hashtag CalLab. See what I did there?
We're done. Anyway, guys, that's about it for the video today. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks to Kalie for coming back.
Thanks for having me. It was great.
I hope she can come back again. If she,
I will.
I'll fly to you. If
I miss friends.
Leaving. So. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like and a comment down below. If you want to see more from me, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring that bell for notifications so you don't miss a single video that I produce. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. See you guys. Okay.
Do you like my finger guns?